Yeah.
From a virtual podcast studio in Johannesburg, South Africa, you are listening to What the Relationship with your co host Candice.
Lungi.
And if you're looking for a podcast that talks about Njolo in a very spicy, very nicey, very shady
Mm-hmm.
way, we hope will make a great pair. Today, we are really just reflecting on the fact
Mm-hmm.
that we have made it to 50 episodes,
Woo!
baby. 50
Beep, beep, beep,
episodes. 50.
beep.
50. You heard
Beep,
it
beep,
here
beep,
first. It is 50.
beep.
Okay. And it is
Half a
just,
century.
yeah, wow. Where
Wow.
we started from in 2020 lockdown to where we
That's
are
crazy.
right now. It has been an amazing and incredible journey of just hearing people's stories, talking about
Mm.
relationships, laughing, venting, being angry.
Venting,
It's just
healing.
been healing even. Yo guys,
Mm.
listen, it's been a journey. So we thought for this 50th episode, let's just check in with ourselves, check in relationshiply where we're going, and also check out as well in terms of what's
Yes.
going outside.
Yes.
Lungi and I were, before we went live, we're just chatting about the fact that there's a lot going on that
In the
bird
streets.
app, that
In
bird
the
app
streets.
for the
That
past
bluebird.
2 days.
My God.
People been having spaces and discoursing and doing all
Yo.
the
And
things.
bullying and
Hey,
attacking and coming for and fetching and
hey.
throwing and yo.
And literally, oh, there we go. And literally creating spaces called "We're not here to attack anyone."
And
Like
then proceeding to attack.
it makes no sense, guys. How did we get here? How did we get here? So yeah, let's check in. Let's check in. Lungi, what is the question you want to ask? I guess we should ask each other questions, right? So I mean, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? Is
I
this is the
mean,
free
how
for
are you
all?
really from episode
Hey,
1 to episode 50? How has life been?
wow, wow. In episode one, I had a boyfriend who was the producer of this podcast. Um, in episode 50, I have a boyfriend who's no longer the producer of the podcast. But at some point in the podcast, I wasn't with the boyfriend. We broke up.
Faizan?
Um, and I think it was an interesting time. It was definitely a necessary time. We had to break up to come back to each other. Yeah, we've been together in August. It's going to be 5 years. So yeah, I guess that's
Wow.
the update in my life from episode 1 to episode 50. Um,
So you
yeah,
actually took a break
it's
and
been
it
a journey.
worked.
Look, it wasn't even a break because we've been on breaks. We've had breaks, especially in 2020. We've had breaks. What we had was a breakup where at some point I
Okay.
was even telling the gent, like, just let's not talk anymore because things were very abrasive, things were very like tense. Um, it was tough. It was tough. But I think it was necessary for us to realize that we needed, not even, I don't even say needed because it sounds like we're dependent on each other, but we
Uh-huh,
loved
uh-huh.
each other so much that even when we were broken up, it was showing through even how we're talking.
Sure.
That when we took that break, I wouldn't even say breakup, when we broke up and we
Mhm.
realized life just didn't make sense without each other, then we decided, to come back. And it was an interesting time. I won't lie. My hot girl summer was hot. It was hot, okay? Like I was just like, I'm gonna glow up and I'm gonna do the basic like thing
Yes.
that the Kardashians do when they go through a breakup, just glow up. And I had
Yes.
fun. I won't lie. It wasn't even like fun of like I was hooking up with guys and stuff. No, it was like rediscovering myself,
Mm.
rediscovering the things that I enjoyed doing, spending time with my friends, but also spending time with my emotions and really checking in on like,
Mm.
how do you feel now that this person is no longer in your life? And I often felt empty. I have to
Mm.
admit, I did feel empty. And it wasn't just to cave in to say, woo, the streets are bad. This because the streets are bad. I won't lie.
No,
The
they are
streets
coming from
are
this one in the streets. Very bad.
the streets are horrendously bad.
They're very bad.
Okay.
Very bad.
But
Wow.
I made the decision to go back. And I always felt bad because the Twitter streets will be like, don't go back to your ex. Don't and I'm like, ah guys, you know what? It is what it
Do
is.
what your heart wants at the
I
end of
did
the
what my
day.
heart wants, exactly, and I'm very happy with the decision. We're much stronger, in the sense that we have both made the decision of going to couples therapy together, and I'm very open
Oh, hey.
about going to therapy. Like I go to individual therapy, and we also
Mm.
do couples therapy at least like every second week or so, um, and it's
So twice
really
a month.
helpful. Yeah, twice a month.
Okay.
It's very
Okay.
helpful. It's very helpful because, yeah, you realize that, this person has their own form of traumas that they come from and their own forms of sensitivity that they have. And so they oftentimes will project that into the relationship. And I think what
Mm.
therapy does is it allows you to sit and be in a space where you have to address these things head on, ask the
Yes.
questions that you need to ask, and get to understand your person on a much deeper level. And yeah, that's been what it's been. That's me from episode 1 to episode 50. That's me now. Yeah.
And what about your life? Not just
Life
relationship,
wise,
life wise, Pella.
yeah, guys, there's something about I don't know this. I don't know. The quarter one had hands. I won't lie. Quarter one of 2022 had hands. Um, but I think personally, on a
Oh my
personal note,
God, we're
I
done with
am.
quarter one.
Yeah, we're done with quarter one. But on a personal note, I feel a little bit more better emotionally, mentally. I've been prioritizing a lot of like self care that I haven't
Mm.
often in 2020 and 2021. And yeah, I'm liking the Candace that I'm becoming. And
Yes.
yeah, I have to give a shout out to therapy, Shout out to
Yes.
my
Shout
therapist,
out.
Dr. M. Shout out
Shout
to
out.
her. Shout out, shout out. But yeah, other than that, personally wise, I'm feeling more in tune with myself, and I am loving the woman that I'm becoming.
Mm,
Although she does have her flaws and her faults, I'm more aware and more accountable for those things.
mm.
Yeah, and work wise, the minister of menstruation is always busy, girl. What can we say? What can we
Booked
say?
and busy,
Booked and
honey.
busy, booked and
Booked
busy,
and
booked and
busy.
busy. We try, we try, we try. And you, Miss Thang,
Um,
how are you? Are you grand? Are you well? Are you really okay?
wow, I mean, I guess I'll also speak from 2020. I mean, I wasn't in
Yeah.
this podcast, but I was alive. So
Mm,
I'll talk about
mm-hmm.
2020. Interesting time in 2020.
Right.
Yeah, because I kind of, yeah, I kind of had a relationship with
Mm,
an individual. Yeah, started in 2020, ended in 2021. Yeah, it was interesting. All I can say is that it's over now, and I'm glad it's over. However, no hard feelings. Still love the guy. I'm
what
very
does
vague.
kind of mean?
I'm very vague because I don't particularly, as much as I like talking about relationships, I don't like
Mm,
talking about my relationship with people because it's always
mm-hmm.
like I almost want to talk about the relationship when I've had like a bit of time, like 5 years, like, oh yeah, I've dated so and so for 5 years. So I feel like I have um the weight to talk about my relationship. But all I can say right
Mm,
now is that it was good. It ended.
yeah.
That's that
Yeah.
on that. However, individually, I am very good. I have not since, let me not say after the relationship. No, I've
Okay.
gone to therapy that
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't gone for my parents' deaths. Ever since my mom and dad died, I didn't go to therapy. So I decided that, oh, I'm 25 now. Let's let's fix ourselves. Let's be actual adults. Let's go
Mm.
to therapy. Let's work out our issues. So I've gone to therapy. I'm doing good. I picked up a hobby, rug
Mm-hmm.
tufting. I make rugs, so that's really,
Yes.
really fun.
Yes.
That has been the best thing I've done for my inner child because I
Mm-hmm.
get to be creative. It's messy, but like you can sweep the mess up, you can vacuum the mess. You get to be like creative however you want. It teaches you patience. So I'm really,
Mm.
really glad where I'm at. I'm also liking the woman I'm becoming. Um,
Mm.
Relationshipically, I want a lot of things and I seem to not be getting them. So I
And
have just
it's
chosen,
African men. I'm telling you right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've
it's
just
African
chosen
men.
to just focus on myself, focus on my health, my wellness,
Mm.
my hobbies, just self-care, and whoever is going to come that has what I'm looking for will come. I've decided to no longer
Mm.
be like actively pursuing because I was actively pursuing on the apps, but I've since deleted all the apps because wow,
Yeah.
no. No.
Yeah. Because all the
Absolutely
swindlers
not.
are on those apps, hey?
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry. There, and by those apps, you never know if you're about to meet a swindler.
Hey, man,
You just never know what you're meeting when you swipe.
you
That's the
never know.
crazy thing. And I think what's interesting is that I met my partner in 2017 and we met on Tinder, right? And
Wow.
let me tell you, Tinder before I don't know what happened, but like 2014 to 2017 Tinder was peak. You're looking for a relationship. This is where you want to get married. Tinder, like the Tinder of today, I don't know what it is. And
Yeah, the Tinder of today
last
is
it's
hookups.
crazy. Last year I tried Tinder, right? I tried Tinder, I tried Bumble. And I
And
wanted to be in a
Hinge.
position where I really wanted to see no Hinge just I couldn't have Hinge for more than like 2 hours. I don't know. Like I think I used
Hinge is
Hinge
also
wrong.
stupid. No,
Because like you only get like 3 or 5
algorithmically.
swipes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, how does that make sense as an app? That's very stupid. That's very stupid as an app. And the fact that they bring back people that you rejected. Algorithmically, Hinge is just bad. User experience wise, very bad app.
It's
0 out of
bad.
10 from me. It's a 0 out of
Yeah,
10.
I can say the same. Whereas with Tinder, I think so. I enjoyed Tinder purely because there was a lot to offer in terms of the different amount of matches that were there. I never ever was bored, but like guys, there were points where I was laughing on Tinder because men just don't know what they're doing on these online dating apps.
They
Like I
don't.
just.
Because their first message is a heart emoji or a smile emoji. Like, what do you want
Or
me to say, sir?
DTF or DTF. And I'm like,
Live
I don't
drive,
know.
DTM, just like that.
I don't know like what type of match or thing because in my head I'm thinking DTF is like some qualification or you're disqualified or I don't know. It's
He's just trying to
weird.
be in and out, literally.
It's weird. So I think I was on Tinder more than I was on Bumble because Bumble, yeah, there were a lot more people there that were looking for something more sincere. And at
Yes.
that point, I was that girl that was like, I wouldn't say I'm just looking for a fun time, but I was just like, I'm just here to
You are
meet people.
DTF.
That's literally no, 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 no. I was not DTF. I was literally like, I'm just here to meet new people. That's it, right? Um, and I made that very
Quick
clear from the
question.
beginning. Mm,
Quick question. Because
mm.
I also have a friend who says that he's just there to meet people. How does that work? Because knowing very well that this is a dating app, what
Yeah.
are we doing when we're meeting? Are we what is the goal here?
Just getting to know each other, like just getting to know you as a person. Um, and for me personally, it wasn't like obviously you're on a dating app, right? But there are different intentions for why people are on dating apps.
Mhm.
Some people are there on dating apps just purely to hook up. There are people who are on dating apps who are like seeing what's out there. And then there are people on dating apps that are wanting to look for look for friends. I know Tinder and Bumble in particular, no, Bumble in particular has a variation where they ask you
Yes.
Bumble date or Bumble BFF, right?
BFF, yes.
And for me it was like, yeah, I'm just definitely here to BFF. I want to see what's out there, just getting to know new people. Whereas on Tinder, obviously people would assume that I was here to hook up because it's that's how it comes across. But I'd always just
Yes.
from the get go be that person who would message and be like, hey, just letting you know that I'm just here to meet new people, get to know people. And I'd never say see where it goes because see where it goes implies that if something has to
Imply,
happen, it will
yes,
happen.
yes,
But I just feel
yes.
like I'm just here to meet new
Very
people
big
and that's it.
implication, that one. A
Ooh,
very big
ooh.
implication. Very big one. I really
So
liked
yeah, for
Bumble
me,
though. Bumble was my
I
favorite
like
one.
I like Bumble, but it adds a lot of pressure on us to come up with creative responses because from my
That's
male
what I
friends
like
who
about
are
it.
on Bumble, like they say we give them whack replies on Bumble. So we're always just like, hi, hey,
You see,
there's nothing
exactly. I
creative.
don't, yes, exactly. I never, like, I avoid saying hi, hello,
Mm,
hey
mm,
at all costs when it comes to Bumble, because it's just like, also it makes it better if your profile is great, it's interesting. I'm not gonna swipe right if the profile is like nothing. So if there's like
right.
something for me to comment on, then I'll come in with a joke or come in with a whatever. Like I had like three set responses for like
Mm,
everyone, and they worked.
mm,
And
mm.
I actually had a response for the people who didn't have like anything on their profiles. But I
Yeah.
liked Bumble because it allowed me to approach first and then see
Mm,
if the guy has a sense of humor, see what his personality is like, if he has a bit of wit, whatever. If
mm.
not, then it's easy for me to just like,
It's shy.
no. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a very quick way for me to suss out, are you actually like lighthearted, or are you just like, do you take
Mm,
yourself too seriously? Because I'm not about that. I'm not gonna be out here taking myself too seriously. I like to laugh. I like jokes. Do you have that
mm.
same funny bone? Let's talk. I need the
Let's
banter.
talk
I
about
need
it.
let's banter.
Yeah.
All the banter,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. So the hi hey emoji, laughing face emoji for inch, no. So definitely Bumble was great for me. Now the problem is these
Mm.
apps are still apps and people are people.
That's
And
true.
that was a disappointment. That's why I left these apps,
That's true.
because of the niggas. Niggas be nigging.
Hmm.
Niggas.
Yes.
Niggas are
Yes.
niggas. That's the
That's true.
problem.
That is only facts. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I look, I tried Tinder Gold and I won't lie.
Oh! Eh?
It's where it's at.
You
Tinder
got
Gold is where it's at, guys. It's about what I can't even remember what it is. I look at the juncture, I was just like, let me just try it. I've never tried it. Let me see
money.
what
Uh-huh.
it's like.
And
It makes so much sense when Neseko Klabi was on our podcast and she said she only does Tinder Gold darlings. I get it because
uh-huh.
I'd also only do Tinder Gold darlings because it
How does
really
it work?
it makes it easier for you in that so you can swipe right or left. You have unlimited swipes, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
super like, and then what is really cool about it is it can tell you who's swiped right on your profile. And some people might say, oh, it takes away the mystery of it. But for me personally, as someone
Nah, I
who
need to know
just,
if you like
I
me or
just want to
not. Let me
know,
not waste my
you know what I'm
time.
saying?
Let me
So
not
you
waste
just
my
go through
time.
people's profiles, you see how many people have swiped right on you, and you just go, okay, swipe right, you have the conversation. It's quick, fast, right?
Yeah.
Um, it can at times get a little bit, how can I say? Um, I wouldn't say depressing, but it can get mentally taxing when you are seeing the same people who swiped right on you. You're not seeing like the people that you swiped right on fall
Yeah.
into like that place because you're like, maybe is it me? Do I look right? You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah,
think
then
I
you have to
enjoyed it
accept
for
that you're
that.
not your type's type.
Exactly. I like that element of like, okay, he has this whole long list of people who are like, hey, I'm really into you. You swipe right, you're having conversations, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
really, really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I tried Tinder Gold. It was an experience. But I always found myself getting very frustrated in that I couldn't have Tinder for longer than like 2 weeks. It
Yeah,
honestly, there is a
yeah.
proper impact that these dating apps have on your mental health.
Oh
There were
yes, hundred
oftentimes when I
percent.
found myself feeling very depressed or having a low self esteem and having to constantly remind myself like who I am, what I'm worth, what I look like, because I
Mm.
wasn't like, not saying getting the type of matches that I wanted, but I just wasn't
The validation.
satisfied. And
The
I felt
validation
then like,
also in a human
yeah,
on a human level, the validation
mm,
is important. Like on
mm,
the primal human. There we go.
mm,
Primal
mm, mm,
instinct of a human like is to
mm.
feel belonging. So if you don't, then like even if it's like a little bit, those things add up. Even if it's
It's
from
a lot.
fucking men. Fucking
Hey, listen,
men.
it's a lot. So
That's just
I think I was just finding myself deleting the app so many times. And I think what was interesting during my breakup phase
breakup
rather,
stage.
was that I was feeling still a little bit guilty, even though I was single. I was feeling guilty. I was like,
Ah,
yeah,
is
going on
this
coffee date.
cheating?
You know
Isn't
what I'm
it?
saying? But yeah, guys, not online dating. Hey,
I
a whole little situation on itself. But
I'm
that is
I'm
not what we're
I'm
talking
good.
about today.
I'm very
That's not what
thanks.
we're not talking about that
Yes,
today.
we're talking about
We're,
the Bird app, and
we're talking
people
about the
like
Bird app.
to gossip. Gossip,
Exactly.
gossip. 8,000 people. Eight thousand
Until 4
people.
hmm?
8,000 people.
A whole concert.
8,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people
Look,
on listening to one person talk about gossip. That's crazy. That's actually
it's
insane.
crazy. I think what was interesting from what I gathered, so just to put context to listeners who aren't on
Please.
Twitter. So Twitter is this app where, a lot happens. Like,
It's a
people
free
tend
for all.
to report on things that happen. But now, in the past couple of days, there has been, especially in South Africa, a lot of local South Africans tweeting about their experiences or relationship experiences with a particular individual. And there's two individuals involved in this, but the space that I was involved in involved a 20-year-old boy
He's
who had
20.
a
Yeah,
yeah,
so
he had a
young.
Finsta. Yeah, he had a Finsta, like a private Instagram account of all the pictures of the girls that he had had sexual relations with, right? And now, being the youth of South Africa, they decided, let's all gather
Year
on a Twitter
2000.
space and let's talk about it. Let's talk about this person. And I joined the space like after my webinar because I was just like, oh, let's see what's happening on Twitter. Because ever since Sunday with the whole Will Smith slap, everyone's been experts of relationships and talking about
Ah,
whataboutism. So then I'm thinking, why is there another space? Are we still talking about Will Smith? Turns out, here's a boy on being roasted, are being asked
literally
questions
a
by
boy.
women.
2000.
Literally,
This kid
he
was born in
matriculated 2 years ago.
2002. Guys.
Yes.
2002.
Okay. Listen, okay. Now they're asking him questions. So this girl that you hooked up with, did you really hook up with her? Because she's saying that you harassed her, hada. So it got real deep at some point where he was um being sort of like accused for sexual harassment. And every time he was being accused of something, his go-to response was, let me send a message to that person that you're saying I did something with, and I'm gonna put it on my Twitter timeline, and I'm gonna share it in the space for you guys to see what she said, what this has been said. Let me put screenshots up, blah 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 blah. And in
So
my
he
head,
did.
I'm thinking,
Did he?
we don't know, right? I don't know what the situation is, because when they called him out on it, he left the space. But he was still unraveling on his own Twitter timeline to say, nah, not like this, Oaks. Nah, he even quoted to say, you're still going to speak to someone who you claim to sexually harass you. Ha ha ha, ha, you know? So there was a lot going on, a lot going on.
There's so
And at some point,
many.
some type of lawyer entered the space to say, you know what you guys shouldn't do and entertain is anonymous DMs where people are saying this guy's done this or this guy's done this, because now it's becoming defamatory. You are actually impacting this
Defaming
person's
him.
image, you know? But what did these AMA 2000 still choose to do? They still chose to read anonymous DMs. And I was like, guys, this is not it. But beyond that, I think for me,
But what do you
the main
expect?
conversation.
I understand these are children. Like, that's the thing with social media, right? Like,
Mm,
anyone can access social media, but your mentality is still your mentality. If you're a child and you think
mm,
like a child, you will do childish things. And these are
right,
children. So I'm
right.
not surprised at all. It's just the surprise for me is how many more people were in on it listening. It's just like, guys, damn, y'all ain't got no
Right?
hobbies? Fucking
Right?
Jesus. Wow.
So, the most interesting point for me was just trying to understand like the type of people we date. Because I can
Yes.
imagine it being
Okay.
very uncomfortable for someone who is dating this type of person and they're putting on this pedestal and people are exposing the type of person
On
that
the
they are,
timeline.
right? And
On the
then
timeline.
how do you feel knowing that this is the type of person that you're dating? You know, this is something for me that is, I don't know, that I've been seeing happening and playing out, because clearly we are seeing spaces where people's boyfriends are being put on a pedestal and they are talking about their behavior. So I think for me, what is interesting is trying to understand like what are our different non-negotiables when we're dating someone. And when
Sure.
do we realize that we're actually dating a red flag? When do we actually realize that this person not
That's
only
crazy.
is harmful to me or toxic to me, but has had a history of being toxic to other people.
Right.
And I think this is what we're seeing playing out in these Twitter spaces where multiple people are coming up to be like, yeah, I have screenshots. Oh, the last time this person, and it's like there's a history. This person has a
So he's
history.
like this,
So
yeah.
what do you then do as someone who's dating that person? Do you choose to stand by your person, or do you choose to, I don't even want to say change their
What do
ways,
you
but what
do?
happens?
Do you
What
stick by him
happens?
or stick by him, or do you leave the relationship? Because we've seen this across the years where people's boyfriends have been outed for um, raping people, sexually
Mm,
harassing people, and these are
mm,
like people in the Twitter streets, well-known people in the Twitter streets. So it's always a thing of it's in front of Pamgabando and you're a well-known person and you're popular, blah blah
mm.
blah. It's a lot.
I'm just trying to think, if
It's
I
a
was in
lot.
that situation, if I was presented with information or I'm being told to enter a space and my partner is being made, I wouldn't even say being made, but there are multiple people that are talking about their experiences with that person. Um, I know for a fact it would hurt. And I know that being me,
How
I
would
would
you react?
probably, I don't even know, but I know that I would have to speak to my partner and personally and be like, okay, so there's a history. You know, you have this history of hurting people and it doesn't make me feel comfortable. And I think it would be more sensitive if I was also still being hurt by that person, you know, and we're very oblivious when it comes to like sticking by a person when we're romantically involved. We always
Mm-hmm.
believe and hope that someone will change, but for me, it's very different when there are multiple people who come out with their stories and there's a pattern. You know, there's a
Mm.
pattern that shows. So in these spaces, I'm hearing that there's a pattern with these people that, you know, he would come, be nice, chat. They would do their things, and then he'd be a complete douchebag towards the end. And it's these are hurt people. These people have been hurt by this person, and
Is
there's
that
no
what
form
this
of
guy was doing?
accountability. Yeah, he created a whole finsta of all the women he's been with. And these women started to join the space and they're like, do you recall on this day? Do you remember? And he's denying and denying and denying and denying. So there's a history. There's a history there. And if you're with someone who's not willing to take in the actual time to want to unlearn and relearn to be a better person to others,
Uh-huh.
but also a better partner, then that is someone that you should not date. Like that, in my opinion, is something that you need to be cognizant of. Like,
Is this guy
yeah,
considered a fuckboy?
a friend. I think
Is
I
he?
don't know.
Because I'm trying to just understand what is actually going on and why so many people are involved and why so many people on the outside are involved. Um,
Mm,
maybe because for me, I mean,
mm,
as you've probably seen, I'm rather private. As much as I talk about any and everything, um,
mm,
the stories that I talk about, you'll never pinpoint who I'm talking about. You'll never know when it happened because it's just like, nah. At the end of the day, as much as whoever did whatever to me, I'll still protect whatever. I will tell whoever needs to know next, but I'm not gonna just out right
mm,
unless obviously you're a rapist. That's very different, or you're
mm.
like violent. That's very different. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna out there go to spaces, tell people so and so did this and this and this and this. Rather go to the actual next person personally. Like
Mm,
what I'm trying to say is what happened to coming to people like on a genuine level and being like, hey, this person is on some bullshit. Like
yeah.
maybe check them.
Yeah.
Why are we so invested? I don't know what the right word is, but why are we so
Yeah.
like uh, so hung up on showing up and showing out in front of people on social media,
Mm,
for your
mm,
image, whatever? Like, where is the integrity, guys?
mm.
Where is the
No, I
integrity?
think I think what I'm seeing play out on social media right now is that people are forgetting that at the end of the day, these people are human beings, right?
Human
And
being.
so if there is a major injustice that has occurred, it I believe that people do have a right in using a platform to speak about moments of abuse that have occurred to them, or
Hmm,
only moments
hmm.
of harassment that
Sure,
have occurred to
sure.
them, or any moments of injustice that has occurred to them based on someone, and that person's pretending as if life is going on, But I think it becomes then very insensitive when you're now having a space where everyone can just comment, but they don't know this
8,000
person
people. 8,000
personally.
people
Like
have
you're just
opinions
as a
about your
host
character.
saying, you're as a host saying, guys, if you want to speak, speak. And it's like, I like, do you understand?
Now,
they're humans at the end of the day.
now Palesa from Harankua, who knows nothing about your
Yay.
situation, not
Yay.
Fogel, is gonna say, yeah, you are like this. Don't do this, don't do that.
Imagine. And I think
Madness.
for
It's wild.
me,
It's wild.
what's interesting is that everyone will always have an opinion when it comes to relationships, right? We all have a different way when it comes to relationships. It's neither black nor white. But I do think that when it comes to commenting on other people's relationships, especially so like intimate and private, or so like
Yo.
around the corner, it's totally different, right? We do comment on public figures relationships a lot, like
Yeah.
we've often spoken about Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, and don't whoever, right? um but I think it's very different when it's like someone that you've never met, someone that you don't know, someone who isn't choosing to be a
A
public figure, and
random
then all of a
person.
sudden you're like, let's just go in. There's something that for me, I feel as a society we need to reflect on, where there's this need where we have to really laugh at other people's pain and struggle and misfortune. But at the same
Mm.
time, I'm like, bringing awareness to the fact that there's a specific individual that's problematic is kind of good, because then people can know what to look out for if
Yeah.
they ever had to meet that person. So
In the
I'm a little
streets.
bit
Then
on
it's just
the
like, you're that nigga.
you're that guy.
You're that guy who did
You
this
know,
and that to people.
who
Now
couldn't beat the
you can't creep.
allegations.
You can't creep anymore. You can't be doing those things that you've been doing. But definitely, I agree with you. There's like a, it's like a it's like but at the same time, we're so like desensitized to
Mm,
sensitive things. We've become
mm,
so desensitized
mm.
that when people die and people just announce doves and whatever, and then they have to say whatever they're saying about whoever they are talking about's death, and like at the end of the day, like there's a human being who was sick
Hey.
and they died, or they killed themselves, or they did what, or they just died.
Mhm.
It's just very dark, in my opinion. It's all
There's
very dark.
something about
There's
that
something very
channel.
dark.
There's something about that channel where we see people who are cheating. We see people talk about their
Nah,
problems
that I
and
hate
what
it.
it's
I
done.
hate that channel. Like I despise it. I don't
Mm,
despise many things, but that channel, I despise that channel. Oh
mm.
my goodness. It puts
Because I
it
think
puts black people in
it
such a
creates,
disgusting light. Oh, I hate that channel so much. Oh
and
my
it also
goodness, I hate that
creates,
channel.
it just wants us to always like know like people's
Be in
problems and
drama.
people's
Mm-mm-mm.
struggles and traumas. Like I don't know. It would really
It's
just
it,
be
it's not pushing
refreshing.
positivity. It's
No,
not
it's
pushing P.
not.
It's not pushing P
Oh my
at all.
gosh.
I hate it. Jeez. No. It's so nasty.
And as an update, I also wasn't very like open. Um, I've made the decision to be to be private with my relationship.
Sure.
Um, because in the past I was very open. I would always post pictures of us, or I'd always say, "Oh, happy what." But I always got, especially on that the Bird app, I always got a specific feeling that people were not happy. And that people, even in the comments, there were some people who were like, "Oh, this is adorable, this is cute," and then some people who would literally be like, "Oh, this is going to end in tears." And I think you do
Ow!
carry that
Nice jive.
energy. Yeah, yeah, I like Jai
Just shit
friend.
out. Just ow. Where is
Friend,
this coming from? Do
right?
you know me?
Um, you see, and I think you do carry some form of energy for what is projected or portrayed on your relationship on social media into your relationship. And I've honestly just made the decision not to put it out there. I guess other than the podcast now, but and in protecting my piece of like the narrative that I want regarding the relationship.
Mhm.
Not to say that I'm trying to isolate each other from it or isolate people from us.
Yeah.
The people that need to know about us know.
Know about it. Yeah.
And I'm just choosing to be selective of who I let into our space when it comes to our relationship, because clearly with social media it seems like people will just always have an
Toxic.
opinion
They will
on
always.
something that they have no idea on. So it kind of, for me, whenever I just see these spaces play out, I'm just like, obviously I'm listening, and I'm not listening from a like, ooh, tea situation. I'm just listening to, because I'm thinking, are you guys not friends with these people? Do you not know these people intimately? Because if you don't, then
What happened to
why?
pulling people aside, guys? The thing of pulling people aside and chatting to people, like, let me pull you aside and address you like that. Like the thing of, how in relationships people say, when your partner is wrong, you must agree with him, like in public, and then in
Mm,
private, like address them. Like that should
mm,
be in all types of relationships. Like we
yeah.
we are in relations together, so let's treat
Mm,
each other with respect. Let's have each other's backs, not go in the
mm.
streets and spill
Hey,
everything. Oh
hey.
my God.
And
Oh
I
my
genuinely feel
God.
like, honestly,
Oh my
we are
God.
not very aware. Look, I think my question came up to be like, if you had to be dating someone who has been dragged on the tea,
Oh,
like, what do you do in that situation? But I also think we should never ever underestimate our gut instincts. We should never ever underestimate the red flag. I know, like for me, red is my brand, but the red that I like is a red that makes me look good. And if I'm sensing some form of red negativity and toxicity from a person, that is the red that I don't want in my life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I guess I want to replace the thing of like red flags and rather just call it toxic flags, because in my opinion, red is my color, red is my brand.
yeah,
And I just rather say, if you are noticing that there are toxic flags in an individual that you are romantically involved with, what is the right thing to do? And we don't have the answers, right? We all react differently. But I know for a
yes,
fact that if if I am seeing that the person that I'm intimate with is has a history of people who've now come together to speak on the experiences with this person that I'm with, girl, I'm cutting that. I'm cutting that relationship. I'm
yeah,
cutting it. I'm
yeah,
cutting it. Because what's to say that you won't do the
yeah.
same thing? What's to say that in
Obviously,
the next couple of
you're.
months I'm not going
I'm
to be
no
joining that
different.
space?
I'm no
You know,
different.
exactly.
I'm just.
Exactly.
It's just my turn.
It is what it
So
is.
what am I doing here? Why
Mm,
stay? And
mm,
also, guys, the power of instinct. Like, please trust
mm,
yourself. Don't
mm,
ever. I've figured out what overthinking is, man. Because we
mm,
always look down on overthinking, when overthinking is actually like that instinct telling you that you're right, like you're actually right, like you're this is not far-fetched, you're not crazy, you're right, this is a thing,
mm,
and it's a thing that you should address. And so it's fine if whoever thinks that you're crazy or an overthinker, whatever, and they look down on you for that, leave, because nine times out
mm,
of 10, they're doing the thing that you think they're doing.
mm.
And from the beginning,
Yeah.
from courtship, that's so sweet.
Coach.
From
You know,
from
Lungi
dating,
watched Bridgerton. Lungi just finished watching Bridgerton.
and
So
did,
now she's like,
and did,
from
and
courtship.
did, and did. I in less than 12 hours. That is, I watched it in less than 12 hours. I finished the whole. I binged it. Anyway, from like the beginning of like the initial relationship, when
Mm,
you see these orange flags, these yellow flags, take note, guys.
mm, mm,
Leave as soon as you can. I think
mm.
I think I like that I'm becoming that person. I
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says, oh, you're too picky. It's fine. It'll save me a
fine.
lot of
Because your
time.
peace is protected.
My peace is protected. If
Mm,
I'm
mm.
saying, okay, this is not
We out.
I'm out.
We
I'm
gone.
out.
It's
Dip,
clack,
niggas.
clack. Packing
Dad.
bags. I'm gone. I'm
Nah,
on my horse, leaving the
nah.
castle. No, no, I
just
feel you.
just
I feel
take
you.
account of of the yellow flags you're seeing, the
Mm,
orange flags. Like if it's anything
yeah,
but green,
yeah. I just think like let's measure a person based on like the hot flavors. I know some people do like hot flavors, but I can't handle them. So if
I
someone
love the hot
is
flavors.
like
I love the
tangy
spice.
tomato and lemon and herb, which we're fine. But the moment it starts to
Bland.
become very mild and hot and extremely hot and very, very, very hot, then I'm out. I'm out.
Dynamite.
I really do base not even like relationships but with friendships. Like if you are always centering peace and it's never chaos and it's never toxic and I never
Yes.
feel emotionally manipulated or gaslit
Yes.
whenever something
Yes.
is being presented, then I mostly feel peace. I mostly feel happiness when I leave your space or I leave your
Mm,
presence. Then that's someone I want to be with, not only
mm,
as a friend but also as a partner. And I think that's something that a
mm,
lot of people need to ask themselves, like, how do you feel when you're with this person,
mm.
and
Do you feel
how do
like
you feel
yourself?
once you leave? Yes, there's an energy that you carry when you're with
Yeah.
when after you've left someone. Like if you mostly feel very heavy and tense, then that is the energy that you've carried from that person. But if you mostly feel light and hopeful and happy and joyful, then
And like
you know
recharged, and because that's how I feel when
mm,
like after I've left the presence of people, because I like being around people and having conversations. So whenever I don't feel that when I'm with people, then I know, there's something wrong with you. Because
There's a
the
problem.
many people that I've conversed with, I've left good, happy. Even if we've argued, had an argument, whatever, I leave charged and refreshed. If I feel anything other than that, that's you. That's on you.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
on you. And
Yeah.
and that's a self introspection on me, because I know the self love is a big thing on myself. So that is you. It's you. It's not
Facts.
me. It's you.
Facts.
It's
Facts.
you.
Facts. And hey, that breakup line would slap so nicely. It's not me. It's definitely
It's
you.
you. It's definitely
It's
you.
definitely
It's definitely you. You are
no
the
lies
problem.
there.
You are the
Definitely.
problem. What?
Definitely.
Social media,
So
guys.
in wrapping up, I want to ask you this question because it has been a conversation throughout this whole week. What did you think
Okay.
about the Will Smith slap?
Oh. Man, do you know? Let me just tell you how I like how I found out what happened. I woke up in the morning. It was like
Okay.
6 a.m. I'm checking my phone. I go to Instagram. First thing I see is this video in Japanese. Like, it's got a Japanese like audio, the Japanese audio. I saw that one, and I'm like, wait, is this real? It's like, oh yeah, I to the Oscars were happening, and then I go in. I'm
Yeah.
like, did this really actually happen? That's so wild.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wow, he really had a human moment. Like, he had a
He
nigga
did.
moment. He had a
He
nigga
did.
moment, and he went for it. And I'm not even
Yeah.
just like, in front of these white people. It's just like, wow, you had a nigga moment.
He did.
I think it was Loiso Matinga, who said on his Instagram story, like, um, whether you agree or disagree, it's like watching your dad going to slap your drunk uncle, knowing very well that what your drunk uncle
Mm,
said ain't it, but what your dad did ain't it as well. So it's just like,
mm,
I don't feel like he shouldn't have done that. It's just like
yeah.
he had the grounds. He really did have the
Yeah.
grounds. It's just like, why did you have to slap him? But
Yeah.
and then win your Oscar, your very first Oscar, because that night should have been about his first Oscar, because he's been deserving of an
Wanting.
Oscar. He's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
deserving. Forget wanting. He's
Yeah.
been deserving of an Oscar
Then
for
yeah, that's
many,
true.
many years. And for his
That's
first
true.
Oscar to be overshadowed by such a stupid moment is just so sad. And if
I
they
just
take
yeah.
away that Oscar, they're racist. If they
No,
take away that
they
Oscar,
are racist.
they're
No,
racist.
they're racist.
They're
They
racist.
are. They will be racist. But we always know that the Oscars have been racist. The racist
They're
Oscars
racist.
have been very very Caucasian. But yeah,
Don't you
look, I think I
think?
had a little bit of a back and forth with my friends in the group, where my friends were like, "No, what Will Smith did was completely wrong," and I was like, "Okay, so what would you do in the situation where this person who has been at your wife for years on
Yes.
end
Excuse me.
and doesn't know where to draw the line
Yeah.
has now taken an opportunity where it is a special night to then
And it's about her
attack
health.
her on something that she has no control over. It's different
Yeah.
when you're like, oh, entanglements, or something that she has control over,
But
but something
yeah.
that she has been speaking intimately about and have been very emotional about, then you go for it. I think there what it showed is that there is a line when it comes to
Comedy.
comedy.
And
And
yes, that's yes.
yeah,
Yes. I'm so
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you.
Mm,
But that Chris Rock is a veteran comedian.
mm,
let's let's not forget, this is a veteran. He's been around for many years. He's seen how comedy has changed because of how the world has changed. So he should
mm,
know what jokes to make and what not, and
mm.
what jokes not to make. He is old enough, very, he's an old ass man, grown man. He should know which jokes to make and which jokes not to make.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So look, I do not condone violence. I do think
He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing because I saw some people saying that, oh, he didn't know about her alopecia. Don't chat like everybody knew about her alopecia. He knew about it. Otherwise, he would not have said it's a GI Jane joke. He wouldn't have said that had he not known. He knows. He knows.
So Chris Rock went low. Will Smith went low.
Retaliated. He retaliated. Sometimes you just have to slap a bitch. Sometimes. I'm very non-violent, but wow.
A conversation about often how we don't protect Black women, especially in spaces where there is pure, direct misogyny. And one can argue that Chris Rock was being violent towards Jada in his jokes, if that's what you want to call it. And Will Smith then felt justified in responding with violence. I don't know what would be the proper way to respond because I am not him. I'm not him. I'm not dating or married to his wife. I don't know, especially the relationship between him and Chris Rock. I just don't know, right? And I think.
But how would you feel as Jada in that situation? If you were Jada and your man just slapped another man for saying some shit about you, how would you have felt?
I guess I don't even know. I would be shocked.
For me,
I would be shocked.
I'm just like, that's my man. That's my man. I don't care where we are. You have chosen to protect me. That says a lot. Like, it's us against the world because fuck these white people. Fuck the show. Fuck Chris Rock. You have chosen to protect me. You have chosen to protect us. You have chosen to protect this unit. I love you.
Yeah.
That's
it. You've chosen to defend the family.
You've chosen to defend the family.
Because I get it. I get it.
This is in front of Pamgwa Bantu. We live. And it's what in the this is a space. This is a space. If this was a space and Chris Rock said something to Jada, and Jada was like, I didn't like that, and then Will Smith comes in and he's like, keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. Yeah, babe. Yeah, babe. Yeah.
He was being led. He was being led.
Because I'm not gonna go up and slap him. I'm just gonna feel embarrassed in my corner, like I can't do that.
Because people would have said, if, like, let's say Jada, for instance, got up and she left the Oscars, and the whole Smith family got up and left. And then people would be like, oh, they're too sensitive. There would have been any form of commentary. Let's say Will decides to go up to Chris and, like, whispers in his ear, and he's like, whatever you're doing, just stop. And then he walks back. Then people are questioning, what is it that was said?
Sometimes formalities have to go out the window when you've said something foul. Sometimes the formalities have to go out the window because you have crossed the line. You have seen me. I'm a respectable man. I'm a respectable person in this industry. Don't fuck with me. You think I'm nice. It's fine. I'm going to show you. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, I know. But Will Smith said, let's bring love and hip hop to the Oscars. Let's be inclusive.
Don't fuck with me. And you know what I liked after, actually? I liked the narrative after of Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson. Denzel Washington told him sometimes the devil will come at you at your highest point, and then Samuel L. Jackson was just like, my nigga, I love that. I love that. To add on to that,
it's
actually,
crazy.
This is like an off-ramp.
Yeah,
very much off-ramp. The video of Samuel L. Jackson receiving his honorary Oscar and Denzel Washington giving it to him. Favorite moment. I didn't even watch the Oscars, but I don't care. That's my favorite moment.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Favorite moment.
That is my favorite moment. Favorite moment.
Before that moment, Beyonce. That's what I have to say.
Also,
Beyonce.
Ooh.
And let me just say, Beyonce's reaction to the slap was like, girl,
I've been here. I've been there. It's not my first rodeo.
This is not
We
my
were
first
in an
rodeo. This is not my
elevator.
first fight where people are fighting each other. It's
Yeah,
fine. I
yeah.
loved it.
You
It
didn't,
was
you didn't
the
hit him enough.
Oscars was a black. That's what I can say. This year, the Oscars was black. You had the uncle, you had the drunk uncle that was speaking too much. You had the father that did too much. Then you had the rich auntie that was there with her rich husband who was
Uh-huh.
just sitting. She showed
With
out in
having
her outfits.
flashbacks.
She
Having
even
flashbacks.
she even performed for us. She had a nice playlist. You know what I'm saying? It was black. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Honestly,
Definitely.
truly, honestly. And yeah, you know, this podcast will also be black. We will always experience. We will always like prioritize black, in particular, black women's experience. We are very specific about that. We are very POC. Okay.
Yes.
And yeah, hopefully, you know, we continue with that narrative. We'll always continue with that narrative. Not to say we are only exclusive, but we are open to whomsoever. But our experiences as the co-hosts are definitely black POC women. And it's an amazing time to be black, as always. An amazing time.
What a
and it's
time.
also an amazing time to have the 50th episode. Hopefully, we can get to 100.
Woo!
Hopefully, we can get to 100. Very excited too. And it's been such an honor, you know, hosting, actually creating the space. You know, I think Lockdown did an amazing thing where I was like, let's just create that space. Let's have friends. Let's talk about it. Let it be a thing. And we're going to just continue to push the narrative. I'm so excited that yeah, you've been a part of this, and I must also give credit where credit's due. The new look and feel of what the relationship is all purely Lungi's work. Lungi has decided to just give us a new revamp. So, new logo, who dis? So, when you're loading the podcast on your phones and you see a new logo, when you're going on YouTube and you see a new logo, when you go on Instagram and you see a new logo, it's all because of Lungi's work. We give credit where it's due. Black excellence. Yes. Woman in tech, she said. Woman in tech. That's what Lungi said.
Women in tech, women in textile, women in design. That's right.
Exactly. And we're going to be, you know, hopefully the month of April is going to be an exciting month. We can't spill all the tea, but it's going to be an exciting month. We also want to start a new feature where you, as the listener, can email your love stories to us. We've seen that stories have done really well as a way for us to like just, you know, talk about these things. So we're going to launch that as a feature. We're going to work on those things. But again, we really just love and appreciate the listeners, the audience, whoever has been a supporter of the podcast, the fans, you know, our guests. We really, truly appreciate you.
Constant
just love.
Listeners, we love you. So
just
much.
Love.
We appreciate
just love.
you.
Purely just love. But anyway, from me, Candace, and
me, Lungi,
we are out. Bye.
Bye.